Hi, it's Damon here at Big AZ Speakers. Today I wanted to show off this wonderful Onkyo model A-5 integrated amplifier. It's rated at 45 watts per channel at 8 ohms. That's a solid 45 watts. Today for our quick demo, I've been showing them off in a lot of my demo videos, but these Sony SSU-4000s, there's the SSU-3000s right next to them. But the SSU-4000s with this Onkyo, it's simply fantastic. Without trying to blow smoke up anybody's butt here, um, if this amp and those speakers were, if I had to accept those as my final speakers and amp for the rest of my life, I would be perfectly pleased. The problem I had with the Sonys was when I run too powerful of an amp, the drivers are kind of easy to overdrive, but they're very warm, good bass. The mids and highs are just beautiful, and but they, if you throw too much power at them, you'd hear them overdrive a little bit. But so with this 45 watt integrated, the warmth on this amp just matches perfectly with those Sonys. But even though this amp has nice, good warm bass to it, it doesn't lack any detail. The clarity on it is superb. I did go through and I did a partial recap on the main board. Also recap the power supply board for this, and it works perfectly. Only function note on this is there was an issue with the monitor switch. There's actually a shaft that had fallen out, and so I had to manufacture one. It works fine, just occasionally when you switch over to tape 1 or tape 2, the left channel will sound a little funny. Just flip it back and it's perfectly fine. I've toggled it a million times and everything's solid, doesn't feel loose, just misaligning slightly, like probably 1 out of 50 times, and it's not a headache to turn it back and put it back on. So with this amp, one thing that's different than most is Onkyo doesn't have an dedicated aux input, but what they do is they use 2 tape loops, which is actually not bad, but you'd use the tape play loop in as one of your auxes, or you also have a tuner in, say monitoring tape 1 and then phono 1. You'll see the phono section on this sounds pretty great. And then cosmetically, the face on this is beautiful, but some of the lettering, it's not, and it's a solid metal face, but the lettering is, screen print or whatever, so it's not etched, so there's some peeling on the numbers around here that have worn off, and then the E on the volume. But outside of that, it looks very good. There is a minor dent. Let me see if I can get around to it. On the rear, right here, back's pretty straight. It was missing so this fuse cover, it's for the speaker fuses. It's not 120 volts. It's your left and right. So it was missing the speaker cover, so I just had to manufacture one that's perfectly fine. Put that on there. So this thing does have pre-out and in terminals. I'll do another video, but the preamp on this sounds so nice that if you're in a situation where you need more than 45 watts per channel, I got like this Sound Craftsman 205 watt per channel at 8 ohm amplifier, and it runs that, and it sounds amazing. Just gives you a lot more power. So if you're running some big servo in Vegas or something, and at 4 ohms, it's 315 watts per channel, and it's actually 2 ohm stable at I think 415 watts or something like that per channel. But anyways, more on that in the next video. Wanted to show this, or dedicate my time to just showing the amp section on this. I'm gonna pause it, just let you look underneath the hood here real fast. So as you see, it's nice, clean amp. I always take time, clean everything out, detail it real well. no rust or anything growing in there. Outputs. My lighting in this room is terrible. Put the lid back on real fast for you, and then we'll get to the music. All right, so again, we're rocking the Sony Carbocons here. We'll start out. I have my phone as my aux source using the tape loop, play 1 loop, and then I use Tidal. It's a hi-fi media streaming service, and as you can see, some of their tracks are even digital master quality. I've used just regular MP3 for a long time, and there is a difference. I didn't want to admit it, but if you don't have a chance, they do a free 30-day trial. It's a really good service. And then got the turntable hooked up to Phono 1 here, so go ahead and turn it on. And, get some music going for you. I'm gonna turn it up, hopefully it doesn't distort my mic. So balance full right. Over there. Back to both. Balance full left. So that's where they said sometimes you'll get a little toggle on this, but it's very rare. I just don't want to throw anybody off guard. So you got your bass and treble, but then you flatten it out, so it's defeat. So now these don't do nothing. Just a flat signal. Put the treble back on. Full treble. Treble down. Back flat. Back up. Put the bass back on. Bass all the way off. Full bass. Alright, so I'll dial up the turntable now for you. The source. That's spinning already. See, no issue with the monitor switch.
Stick from my hotel. The ghost of dirty dick is still in search of little Nell. It's what it is. It's what it is now. It's what it is. What it is now.
If you like the sound of this amp, as I mentioned, but you're needing more power, shoot me a message, talk to me about adding a power amp to this. You'll love it. It's been my experience. I put more of my money focusing on finding the right preamps, and I run a lot of power amps. I like being able to interchange my sound just because you get different qualities that match with, you know, so many speakers. I'm always rotating them. You know, as long as you have a good amp with good specs, you don't have to break the bank on that. Then you can focus on getting different sound qualities from running different preamps. Not really, that's kind of my thing. But so, you know, a lot of the integrated amps will have your preamp in and outs, your stereo receivers. So people are paying so much money for vintage stereo receivers. You know, like this Marantz, this 4270. It's not cheap, but it's quadraphonic, but in 2-channel mode it's 70 watts per channel, just like a 2270. But if I run a power amp too like that, now I can run 200 watts per channel, and it still maintains, you know, all the characteristics of the Marantz sound. You know, to my ears anyhow. I know there's people that would argue, but again, I think as long as, you know, in some cases, you know, some of these power amps are actually gonna have better specs and a lower distortion rating, things like that, than the internal amp on some of these old receivers. So you know, instead of paying $3,000 for a 200 watt vintage receiver like the, you know, Sansui G22,000, which I've had a few, or the Pioneer 1980, I'd rather get a good middle level one that I know sounds good and add a power amp myself. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions, and again, these are for sale, so please send a message and follow if you like, and stay tuned.